More than 9,000 people aged over 65 earn more than 200,000 a year, and another 33,000 earn between 100,000 and 200,000. The Retirement Commissioner says it's a fair question to ask whether they should be able to claim super as well. And the data comes from the 2023 census. The number earning between 150 and 200k has decreased from 2018, but those earning between 100 and 150 has lifted quite substantially, I suppose, by 10,000. The census also showed that the number of people over 65 still working has increased. Just over 24% of people aged 65, over 65 were in work, up from 22.1 in 2013. Now, the biggest increase of those working are aged 70 to 74. We mentioned this in the last hour. It's no surprise to hear that people are working well into their 70s and 80s even. Governments past and present have had ideas about what to do with the single largest government expense, I think currently sitting at around 21.6 billion annually. And while some are opposed to raising the age of eligibility or means testing, there are still questions surrounding the fairness of the scheme. Retirement Commissioner Jane Wrightson believes we need a package of measures, and she joins me now. Jane, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah. How are you?
I'm good. When I said at the beginning of my show at 1 o'clock, Jane, I do a little bit of a teaser at who I'm going to talk to. And I mentioned I was talking to you, and I already had one text in 2 minutes into my show going, I'm turning you off. Why do people always want to take my money? I've worked hard all my life. It's passionate, isn't it, Jane? It really. And I don't know who the person was, and I said on there, I said, look, please come back after 3. It's a conversation. Jane is going to walk us through a few ideas. But it won't surprise you that people get really passionate. And I suppose, first of all, with an ageing population, people are working way past retirement age. Do you believe we can afford to keep super age at 65?
Look, the first thing I want to say is that I am on record as saying that the age should stay the same, all right? Yep. So 65 is the right answer for me, and it is the most fairest and simplest option on the table. However, as you know, there is a number of voices in this space, some of them are very noisy, saying in particular, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And my first question about that is always who says? This is about government spending choices. What is the point of, is the point of this meaning to provide for older New Zealanders with a more dignified retirement, in which case we leave well alone, right?
Right.
But let's say for a moment that we can't afford it. I don't believe it's true, but it's worth looking at scenarios. Then the next thing people generally say is put the age up to 67 or higher. And that is true. That is the simplest option. It's also the least fair. And I am a great believer in talking about fairness, because not all of this is actually about money. This is about how we want to treat New Zealanders. So if we went to 67, for instance, what I mean about a package is, who will this change hurt? This change will hurt women. There's no question. We have lower retirement savings. The gender pay gap turns into the retirement savings gap. We have time out of the workforce, yada, yada, yada. It hurts women, it hurts Māori, it hurts Pacifica, and it hurts people, manual workers of all description, the people whose bodies wear out,
Yep.
So unless we start talking about what will the transitional package look like for those that simply can't do it, then I say it's not good policy. And then thirdly, if you don't like that, then I say and the most unpopular option is looking at income testing, obviously.
Yep.
Because when somebody says to me, if I'm earning $200,000 a year, is it fair that I get super? I go, such a good question, isn't it? What do other people think?
Yeah, fair call. Yeah, what do other people think? So if you're saying then, if we can, you believe that we can still afford it at 65, do we need to change it then? Do we need to change what we've got? Are we fixing something that isn't broke?
There's enough economists and Treasury type people that say fundamentally we will have to change at some point.
Right.
and again, these decisions are way above my pay grade, right? This is for the
Yeah.
government of the day.
Yeah. All right.
What I say is if you're going to change it, do it in a fair and principled way. And if you can get cross-party support while you're arguing all these things, because all of these points I've outlined to you before have got, strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
If you can get cross-party support, then it will be much stronger and much fairer, because it isn't just about the money. This is my main point always.
Yeah,
You're talking
it's
about
about
people's
fairness.
lives here and how we treat people.
Australia uses both income and asset testing. How would that look here, do you think?
Well, I see Australia is very interesting, isn't it? Because Australia's got a really strong private savings scheme. It's compulsory savings scheme. It's been running for over 20 years now. And so Australians are much wealthier than their equivalent counterparts in New Zealand. So Australia can do things like put the age up to 67 and means test it. Yes, they can. And they can do that because Australians have got really good private savings. So again, this brings me back to the package concept. If you're going to mess around with New Zealand super, can we please talk about what we do with KiwiSaver and savings incentives to kind of balance things?
Yes. If we did go down a means testing route, obviously we had it in the past in different, forms and what they looked like back in the day, what's a realistic income threshold, do you think, to start cutting back eligibility?
Right now, my guess, and I've done no modelling on this, so, this is just, as you say, a conversation rather than a pitch.
Sure.
But right now, I think the level will be about 180 because that's when the tax rates go up to 39%. So I'd use something external as a peg, and probably 180 is about right.
You know what I'm going to say though, Jane, don't you? I'm going to say it. I have to say it now. I've worked all my life, Jane, and I'm getting my super no matter what I make. There we go. Fair enough.
And again,
statement.
for every option here, there is a counter argument, and it's a fair one. But if you think about it, that's a very individualistic and single way of thinking about it. Singular way, that's okay. If you think about it from a collective point of view or a different point of view, you go, as a taxpayer, is that right? As a young person, am I funding somebody through my current taxes who's earning very well, thank you, and claiming super? You've got all these kind of nuances here, and none of them are wrong. They're just part of this sort of broad and messy debate.
Yeah. Has the gap between high income and low income retirees been getting wider in recent years?